this video, I'm going to be talking about the macadamia nuts and the effects and the influence that they have over markers such as thromboxane A2, as well as VCAM-1 and ICAM-1. So VCAM-1 and ICAM-1, they are vascular and intercellular adhesion molecules, and the role in the body are for them to be expressed on endothelial cells during inflammation. And they recruit leukocytes to the vascular wall, promoting atherosclerosis and vascular inflammation. So a high VCAM-1 and ICAM-1 levels, they have to do or are associated with having heart problems or higher heart problem risk. So basically, leukocytes, they use VCAM-1 and ICAM-1 to be able to roll against the walls of, like, let's say, the inside of the human body, like as a way to migrate so that they don't stay stuck. So VCAM-1, ICAM-1 is almost like a car that drives them around. So without VCAM-1 and ICAM-1, leukocytes and other cells, they can't migrate or move around, so that they kind of just stay stuck. So basically, as a result of the VCAM-ICAM, they roll, like they literally roll as a way to move via selectins, and they migrate into tissue. This migration, another word for it, is called a diapedesis. And a big issue here is that cancer cells, they hijack these same adhesion systems to spread via metastasis. So they hijack the VCAM-1 and ICAM-1. So the steps: tumor cells enter bloodstream. Another word for that is extravasation. And then they become circulating tumor cells, or CTCs for short. And then tumor cells express ligands, which are integrins. And these integrins on the tumor cells, they bind onto the VCAM-1 and ICAM-1. So this mimics the exact same rolling with the selectins that leukocytes do when they have their own VCAM and ICAM-1. And then tumors, they secrete cytokines, TNF-α and IL-1, which increases VCAM-1 and ICAM-1 expression. Therefore, tumors, they allow themselves with their integrins to bind to the ICAM, VCAM-1 that they actually secrete or upregulate via TNF-α and IL-1. Okay, these integrins, in test tubes, they have been shown that the enzymes in foods like pineapple, kiwi, and papaya, which I've talked about a lot in my other videos, that they can actually, these enzymes in those fruits can break down proteins, including the adhesion molecules, either integrins or ICAM-1, VCAM-1, because these fruits contain proteolytic enzymes, such as pineapple bromelain, papaya papain, and kiwi actinidin, and in the human body, but they are mostly digested in the stomach and then poorly absorbed in active form. So there is limited evidence, and they do not selectively cleave tumor integrins in vivo in any clinically meaningful way, at least as of the studies that are up to date. But bromelain in pineapple has some anti-inflammatory and anti-platelet effects, which might indirectly affect metastasis. Okay, so tumors, they increase VCAM-1 and ICAM-1 by releasing cytokines, TNF-α and interleukin-1 or IL-1. Therefore, easier tumor cell attachment and extravasation or metastasis, travel and migration to distant organs, and then they spread and divide to other organs. Okay, now, it has been shown in cell and in animal studies that certain foods can decrease VCAM-1 and ICAM-1 expression, therefore not allowing tumor cells and cancer cells to be able to metastasize and spread to other organs. So the effects of these foods are mild, preventative, modulatory, and most importantly, long-term. So that suggests that in order to prevent metastasis, that These healthy foods, they must be eaten on the long term as a normal daily diet routine, and not just on some days or when you feel like it. It has to be a normal part of your everyday life. Think of them as background environment modifiers, but not treatments. Because since treatments have a side effects anyways, so it's better to go with healthy foods instead of treatments. Okay, so the foods that I'm about to explain up next is that they can realistically reduce TNF alpha and interleukin 1 effects. By doing so, by reducing those two, it decreases VCAM-1 and ICAM-1. And some of those foods are grapes, which have resveratrol, uh, apples, which have quercetin. Quercetin acts as an ionophore to push zinc into the cells. Pears also lower ICAM-1, VCAM-1. Pears also have quercetin like apples, so apples and pears are great to help increase zinc levels or to properly manage and ensure zinc levels. Other foods are berries, which have a very high antioxidant capacity. Also, mangoes and the mango peel, they have a very special effect, uh, but I'll have to explain that in a different video. So basically, most of these fruits have their own unique benefits. They're not all the same, but they all do help reduce VCAM-1, ICAM-1, so that way tumors, they cannot metastasize to other organs. And then there's watermelon, which has arginine, or the citrulline in watermelon provides arginine to immune cells, but not to cancer cells. And then there are also tomato with lycopene, and then olives, and then capers. Okay, so the way metastasis succeeds is when tumor cells are mobile via STAT3 or EMT. Uh, the blood vessels are inflamed via TNF-alpha and interleukin 1, and adhesion systems are activated, such as integrins and then VCAM and ICAM. All right, so now I'm going back to macadamia nuts. So rich in MUFAs, monounsaturated fatty acids, and particularly oleic acid. And MUFAs are known to reduce endothelial activation, which lowers VCAM-1 and ICAM-1 expression. Therefore, tumors are less likely to metastasize and migrate to other distant organs. And then macadamia nuts and the high MUFA content modulates platelet function and reduces platelet aggregation. And the polyphenols in macadamia nuts can inhibit cyclooxygenase 1 or COX1. I have another video that talks about that, or actually two. And COX1 is involved in thromboxane A2 synthesis, which has to do with clotting, also tumor armor platelets, or platelet cloaking, which is what tumors use to avoid immune detection. So macadamia nuts and the high MUFA content reduces the platelet function and reduces platelet aggregation. Therefore, the tumors cannot, or at least they have less of a chance of forming platelet armor that allows them to use as a camouflage to escape immune surveillance. So that's it for the video. If you're interested in more future videos, then make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and keep it locked in here on my channel, and I'll see you next time.